Good morning to all. Myself, Dr.R.Sumathy, Assistant Professor, PG Research Department of History, Vellalar College for Women, Erode. Now let's see the topic, the Rashtrakuta Dynasty. The Rashtrakuta Empire that dominated the Deccan for almost 200 years till the end of 10th century and also controlled the territories in the north and south India at various points of time. It was not only the most powerful polity of the time but also acted as a bridge between north and south India in economic as well as the cultural matters. It promoted and expanded the North Indian traditions and policies in South India. Significantly, India that touched new heights of the stability and achievements in the field of polity, economy, culture, education, and religion. There was no power in northern India strong enough to interfere with the affairs of the Deccan, which provided the opportunity for the emergence of the Rashtrakutas. There were the several branches of the Rashtrakutas ruling in different parts of India in the early medieval period. The earliest known, the ruling family of the Rashtrakutas was founded by the Mankanka, the Malkhed, having the Paliyada Baja, the Panar flag, and the Garuda, the Lanchana, the badge symbol. Another, the Rashtrakuta family was ruling in the Putal district of the Madhya Pradesh. The Antroli, the Shikaroli, the inscription bearing the Garuda shield dated 757 CE, mentioned 4 generations, Karka first, his son the Durva, his son the Govinda, and his son Karka second, belonged to a collaborative branch of the Malkhed line holding a base on the Ladakh country in Gujarat. Ladakh is the identification as the area between the Maghi river in the north and the Narmada or the Tibi river in south. Paruch is a major city and former capital of the region. Dandidurga was the founder of the Rashtrakuta Empire who fixed his the capital at the Madhya Geda, the Malkhed near modern Sholapur. He seems to be the contemporary of the Karka II. Dandidurga attacked the Kanchi, the capital of the Pallavas, and stuck to the alliance with the Nandivarman Pallava Malla. Dandidurga captured the outlying the territories of the extensive the Chalukyan Empire in 753 CE and then assaulted the heart of the emperor and easily defeated the Kritivarman. The Shamanka, the inscription of 754 CE, the records and the Dandidurga Adardriv, the last Chalukya ruler of Badami, called the Kritivarman II and assumed the full imperial rank and the desire himself as Prithvi Vallabha, Maharaja Darvida Raja, Paramasheva, and the Paramabhatta Raha. The Dandidurga deserved his territory as the comprising 4 lakhs of the villages, which properly include away the little more than half of the Chalukyan Empire of Badami. Dharavarsha, the heavy rainer, the Dandidurga, the dead, the childless, which led to a dispute between the Krishnaraja first, his uncle and other family members. Krishnaraja first. Krishnaraja first or the Krishna first, successor in the seized the throne in 756 CE because of his popularity. He had the title the Shubhadunga, high in the prosperity, and the Ahalvarsha, the constant reigner, mentioned in the Bandak inscription of the Krishnaraja first of 772 CE. The newly established Rashtrakuta kingdom expanded in all directions under him. They started with the overthrow of the Chalukyas of Badami, the Pandak plate of the 772 CE, so that the whole of the Madhya Pradesh had come under his rule. Southern Konkana was also conquered and practiced under his survey the Krishnaraja first. He also expanded his empire in the southern direction by the establishing lordship over the Ganga kingdom. The Rashtrakuta Empire under the Krishnaraja first may thus be taken to have the extent over the whole of the modern Maharashtra state, a good part of the Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, with Vengi, Further, is acknowledging its the supremacy and a large options of the Madhya Pradesh. Krishnaraja first died sometime between 772 CE and the 775 CE and was followed and the throne is the son Govinda II. Govinda II. 774 780 CE pures the title, the Prabhuvarsha, the profession Rainer, and the Vikramalva, the main with a heroic look. His name is the omitted in the sum of the later grant of line. It was due to the civil war for the throne between him and his the younger brother Durva, ruling the region of the Nasik and the Khanesh, the governor. The first war between the brother entered the disastrously for the Govinda II. Durva 782 the 783 CE assumed the title the Nirbama, annulled the Kali Vallabha, phone of the war. Taravarsha, the heavy Rainer, Sri Vallabha, the favorite of the fortune, Durva severely the punished the all kings who the assistant Govinda II, the late civil war, after the securing the throne. The mad is the younger but upset the Govinda III king during his lifetime. Govinda III. Govinda III, 793 to the 814, became one of the greatest Rashtrakuta ruler who had the title of the Jagadunga, the prominent in the world. Kruti Narayana, the very Narayana is the respect of the fame. The Janavallabha, the favorite of the people. Tirupuvar Vanandavela, the pure in the three world. Prabhadeshwara, the abundant Rainer. Sri Vallabha, he is the equally the rebellion of his elder brother in the south. In the north, after a successful expeditions against the Nagapata of the Kannauj and the annexations of the Malava, along with the Kushala, Kalinga, Vengi, Tahala and the Utika, the Govinda III, again turn of the south. Performing better than his father, expedition his the spread to the fame of the Rashtrakuta Emperor, literally from the Himalaya to the Cape, the Comorin, through his the skill, both in the diplomacy and on the battlefield. Govinda, the success became his the only son, Maharaja Sharva, better known as the Amoghavarsha first. Amoghavarsha first, 814 to 878 CE. Like his father, provided himself as one of the greatest Rashtrakuta monarchs. He heard the titles Nirbadunga, excellent among the kings. Aditya Sedavalla, the wonderfully white in the conduct. The Maharaja Sanda, the best of the great kings. Veera Narayana, the heroic Narayana. He was the genuinely interested in the religious traditions of the contemporary India and used to spend his time the company of Jain monks and other forms of the spiritual meditation. Is the inscription count is among the most prominent flowers of Jainism. He was not only an author himself but also the patron of the authors. Jainasena, the author of the Adipurana, was among the Jaina preceptor of the Amoghavarsha first. He not only promoted the Jainism but also a Brahminical religion and also performed the several rituals for the welfare of his subjects. His death was followed by the access of his son Krishna II in about 879 CE. Krishna II, 878 to the 914 CE, had a title Ahala Varsha and the Shubhadunga. He was not wholly the successful in the helping the rebellions. He only the success in his region was the termination of the Lord Viceroy. The wars that undertook against the Vengi and the Cholas caught him on the whole nothing but disaster, disgrace and exile for the some time. Indra III became king in the 915 CE. Indra III had a titles Nitya Varsha, Constant the Rainer, Ratta Khandarabha, the Kriti Narayana, Raja Martanda, Amohavarsa first, the grandson, Indra third is the established the emperor. The advanced of the Rashtrakuta forces through the Lada and Malava, right up to the Kalpi and the Kannauj, and the detachment of the Mahipala were no doubt significant military achievements of Indra. After the defeat of the Mahipala and the Sheikh of Kannauj in 915 CE, Indra III was the most powerful ruler of his time. Indra III, the region come to the close toward the end of the 927 CE. He was followed and throned by his son Amohavarsa II and reigned for 1 year according to the Bandhana grant of the Silahara Aparchida 997 CE. The position was generally hereditary, but the rules about the succession were not rigidly fixed. The elder son, after the succeeded, but there were many instances when the elder son had to fight his younger brothers and sometimes lost to them. The Rashtrakuta rulers, Thuruva and Govinda IV, deposed the elder brothers. Kings were generally advised and helped by many hereditary ministers chosen to by the leading families. The additions to the Karka, the last ruler of the Karka, the 972-973, the Karaka Raja, the ascended to the throne shortly after the death of his uncle, the Kotika, at the hands of the invading the Malwa king, CE 972. The demonstrate that the kingdom was not annexed, but rather the blunted and destroyed to some extent. The Malwa invasion severely weakened the Rashtrakutas, and the Chalukya king Tailapa II took advantage of the opportunity to launch and attack in 973 CE. The completing the destructions began by the Siyaka II of the Malwa. The inscription by the Vijaya of the Kalachuri, the dynasty. The Rashtrakutas preliminary feuders for 2 centuries confirmed that the Karak Raja II was killed by Tailapa during the Chalukya invasion. Administration of the divided the area. The Vishya was like the modern district under the Vijayapati, and the Bhukti was a smaller unit turned it. The body of access to the called the Rashtrakutas was the Vijaya Maharaja. The respectively the assisted the provisional governors and the district level governors. It's a Rashtrakuta administration. The roles and powers of these the smaller unit and the administrator are not clear. It seemed that the primary purpose was the realized of land revenue and some the attend to the law and order. To appears that all officers were the paid to giving them grant of the rent-free land. Then the village was the basic unit of administration. The village administration was carried on by the village headman and the village accountant, whose the post were the generally hereditary. The grants of the rent-free land were the paid to them. The headman was the often helped in the duties by the village elder called the Krama Maharaja or the Krama Maharaja in the Maharashtra in the Rashtrakuta kingdom. And the Karnataka, particularly in the Karnataka, there were the village committees to manage the local schools, tanks, temples and road in close cooperations with the headman and received a particular percentage of the revenue collection. Town also had the similar committee in which the head of the trade guild were also associated. Law and order in the cities and the area in the immediately vicinity was the responsibility of the Kosta Bala or the Kotwal. The petty chieftains and the increased the hereditary elements weakened the power of village committees. The central rule also found it difficult to assert in the authority over them and to control them. It's the implies that of government was the combining feuders. Literature of the Rashtrakutas. The Kannada literature rose to the prominence during the Rashtrakuta Dynasty region. The Prakrit and the Sanskrit eras come to an end during his time period. The Adipurana was written by the Jain writer Adikavi Bamma, who is widely recorded as one of the most influential Kannada writer. Sri Banna was another notable Jain writer in the Kannada, patronized by his Krishna III and best known for the Sandhi Purana. He is the account of the life of the Sandhinada, the 16th Jain Tirthankara. The prose work in this Sanskrit were also the preferred during his time. Art and architecture, the Rashtrakutas contributed heavily to the Deccan architecture legacy. Maharashtra reflect the Rashtrakutas' contributions to art and architecture through the magnificent rock-cut temple and the temples Ellora and Elephant. So, among the 34 Buddhist houses that were built in 6th century Ellora, one of the Ellora Jain monks also the raised. In addition to the renovating the Buddhism caves, the Rashtrakuta decided to devote themselves to the rock-cut temples. Mahavarsa first practiced Jainism, and 5 Jain cave temples at Ellora date from his region. The monolithic Kailashnath temple at Ellora is the most magnificent and lavish creation of the Rashtrakutas. The walls of the temple are adorned with the spectacular sculptures of the Hindu mythology figures, including Ravana, Shiva, and Parvati. Kailashnath Temple. The Kailashnath Temple is the largest of the rock-cut Hindu temple at Ellora Caves, Maharashtra, India. So then, after Rashtrakuta rule expanded into the South India from the Deccan, King Krishna first commissioned the Kailashnath temple project. Karnataka Travidia is the architectural style adopted. The main shrine and entry, the gateway, the Nandi pavilion and the courtyard, the cycle are the temple's 4 principal components. The Kailash temple is on the architecture wonder is the amazing sculpture. The sculpture represents the powerful monster being slain by the goddess Durga. Ravana was attempted to move the Mount Kailasa in the Shiva's home. In another sculpture, walls were also covered the Ramayana images. The Kailashnath temple has a more Dravidian aspect. Elephanta House. Elephanta House is located as which one of the Siripuri. It was previously named the Siripuri, but the inhabited called in the Karapuri near in Mumbai. It was later named for the big elephant sculpture held to Ellora Caves, and the elephant caves have the part of similarity and demonstrate the continuity of the artisans. The Elephanta Caves, the entrance include the enormous Dwara Balaha sculptures and were the enclosing the Prahara around the sanctum are the sculptures of the Nadaraja, Gangadhara, Arthanadishwara, Someshwara and Tirumurti. The society and the culture of the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas emperor, the subject looked up to the emperor or king as the ultimate authority who was expected to look after them and uphold the current social justice, order and peace for day-to-day matters. However, there were the guild or cooperations that would settle any dispute according to the custom, and if the case could not be resolved, it was the practice to the attention to a higher authority. This guild generally followed the prevailing rules and the regulations of the specific group or caste, dividing only in the exceptional circumstance. Society was divided into caste based on the profession. Ruling caste had their own set of rules, regulation and the customs that they strictly adhere to. They too adhere to the ancient orthodoxy. Though then, however, because of the Rashtrakuta rulers were tolerant of all religions. Society was generally accept of the errant of the various faith. Religion and language. Kannada is one of the most important languages in modern India, and it was the Rashtrakutas who the popularity and the made in a tool of daily communication, despite the fact that the language had already been used for a long time. The supported the Sanskrit, which was the language of the elite. Amohavarsa first was the instrumental in the creation of the seminal work in the both languages, and his the Kaviraja Marka was a watershed the movement in the Kannada poetry. His work in Sanskrit was the widely praised and the read in other Asian countries. According to the legend, Amohavarsa first entered the Jainism, and as your research, many Jain scholars flourished in his court, including the Jain mathematician Mahaviracharya, the Adikavi Bamma, and the Sri Bonna, the flourished in the Kannada and are the now recorded as the iconic contribution to the language. Decline of the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas decline began with the region of the Kotika Amoghavasha, who was defeated and killed by the Paramara dynasty ruled in 972 CE. Then with the capital Manyakeda, the plundered and the destroyed, severely tainting the dynasty of prestige. Indra, fourth the kingdom, the last ruler, the committed the suicide in 982 the CE by performing a Jaina ritual known as the Shaligana, which is a practical of the fasting to death. The Rashtrakuta dynasty entered, but their influence ensured. Part of their kingdom were annexed by the later Cholas and other dynasty, but the government system and severe other cultural practices were adopted by the subsequent empires. Thank you.